Today we will see introduction of Euclid's geometry, which is a part of class 9 chapter 5. So here are learning objectives. So after going through this chapter, you will be able to know brief history of geometry, know and understand Euclid's definitions, know and understand axioms given by Euclid's, know and understand postulates, and what is equivalent version of Euclid's fifth postulate. Now let us see the introduction. The word geometry is from Greek language. It is a combination of two words. One is geo, which means earth, and other one is metrin, which means measure. So it is a combination of two words. It is a branch of mathematics which deals with solid and plane figures. Many in olden days, like ancient civilizations like Egypt, Babylonia, China, and Indian, including Greece, have studied about this subject. Among them, Greek mathematician Thales was the first one who has given known proof. That means he has proved a theorem or something statement. Later, Pythagoras, you might have heard about him. He was also a pupil, one of the pupils of Thales, and many people studied about theory of geometry. But who was treated as father of geometry means Euclid. He might have collected all the previous things done by mathematicians, and he himself has done much thing about geometry. Hence, he is considered as father of geometry. Now, let us see the definitions given by Euclid. A point is that which has no part. So here he is trying to say that a point has no part. Imagine I have taken a point here. Okay, point. This is a small point A. Is it having any part other than this? No, you cannot show smaller part in the point. Hence, a point is that which has no part. Next one, line is breadthless length. You take a line, okay, line L. It is having only length. There is no breadth. Hence, a line is a breadthless length. There are the ends of a line are points. If you take a line, or if you take a line segment, if you are stopping them, where they are stopping at on both sides, their end points. Their end points. So that is the third axiom. A straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. Suppose if you want to make a straight line, all the points on straight line will lie evenly on it. It is not that one point will be up and the point will be down. Since you are taking a straight line, all points will be evenly placed. A surface is that which has length and breadth only. Okay, this is something like edge, and you studied in your visualizing solid shape chapter. If you take a surface, it will have length as well as breadth but no height. The edges of surfaces are lines. So if you take the surface, its edge, this is one edge, this is another edge, this is a, these are all nothing but lines. This total is surface. These are all lines. A plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. Suppose you take any surface. If you draw straight lines on it, they will lie only on the surface. It is like keeping so many papers on the surface of a table. They will evenly lie on it. Okay, so although Euclid has given all these definitions, but what happened is these terms are not taken defined by many mathematicians. They have not accepted. Okay, these definitions given by are not accepted by the mathematicians. So terms are treated as undefined. So these terms are, which terms? Point, line, surface are treated as undefined because most of the mathematicians has not accepted these definitions. Now let us see what is the basic difference between axioms and postulates. Okay, so both axioms and postulates are assumptions. That means you will assume them. Before only you will think they are, you consider it some. Those are universal truths. That means you need not prove them. There is no need to prove them. Suppose you consider sun rises in the east. There is no need to prove that particular statement. Okay, then roses are pink or roses are red. If you show one rose, one particular rose, and it is in red in color, and you say that rose is red, there is no need to prove it. It is obviously correct. Okay, so like sun is a sphere, like these things. So things which need not be proved, and universal, they are correct and universal truths, they may be axioms or postulates. But there is a small difference. Postulates are assumptions specific to geometry only. Okay, so when you say postulates, you should use it only for geometrical statements, whereas axioms can be used throughout mathematics, not specifically linked to geometry. So when you are using postulate term, you are using it only specifically in geometry, whereas when you say axiom, it can be used in any branch of mathematics. Let us see some axioms. Children, again remember, axiom means there is no need of proof. They are considered as obvious truth. Things which are equal to one another are equal to another. Things which are equal to same thing are equal to one another. Suppose if I take A is equal to B and B is equal to C. So here A and C, things which are equal to one another. Obviously what will happen? A will also be equal to C. So this is for things which are equal to same thing. These things are equal to the same thing B. Hence they are equal to one another. Next, if equals are added to equals, then the wholes are equal. Suppose if I take A is equal to B and C is equal to D. Okay, if two equals are added to equals, then the wholes are equal. If A is equal to B and C is equal to D, if I add these two to A plus C will be equal to B plus D. Okay, what they are saying, if equals, these two are equals, one are equal to another, are added to equals, these two are equals added to another equals. So A is added to C and B is added to D. The wholes will also be equal. If equals are subtracted from equals, then the remainders are also equal. So here we have seen A is equal to B and C is equal to D. If I subtract A minus C, it will be equal to B minus D. Okay, this is fourth postulate. Third, now things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Suppose you take A and B. Suppose another point C is also here. So if AB is equal to AC, that means B is coinciding. So if B and C are coinciding, then AB is equal to AC. Suppose A, B, let us take another point C here. So if B and C coincide, then AB is equal to AC. This is the meaning. The whole is greater than the part. It is obvious here also. If you take a small circle and if you cut it into part, okay, this part will be always smaller than the whole. Okay, like a page is always less than book, isn't it? Because it is a part of book. Things which are halves of same things are equal to one another. Things which are halves of same thing. Suppose B is equal to half of A. C is also equal to half of A. Then B is equal to C. Isn't it? Now let us see Euclid's 5 postulates. A straight line may be drawn from one point to any other point. Okay, a straight line may be drawn. You start from here and you can draw it to any other point. This is the first postulate. A terminated line can be drawn indefinitely. Suppose you have drawn a line and stopped it at these 2 points, but you can extend them. You can extend those points indefinitely, means you can draw it or drag it to any length. Next, a circle can be drawn with any radius and any center. Yes, you can draw a circle with any center, any radius, that is your wish. All right angles are equal to one another. All right angles are equal to one another. Obviously all are 90 degrees, no? Next one. If a straight line falling on two straight lines makes the interior angle on the same side of it taken together less than two right angles, then the two straight lines, if produced indefinitely, meet on the third side. So here we should be careful with this. What they are saying, if a straight line falling on straight lines, suppose I have taken a straight line, it is falling means intersecting. Intersecting two straight lines. Okay, let L be a line falling on M and N, makes the interior angles on the same side. Suppose this is the interior angle, the same side of it taken together less than two right angles. This is, if suppose these two are the interior angles, they are less than two right angles, means 180 degrees. Then the straight lines, if produced indefinitely, will meet on the side which sum is, suppose if you extend them like this indefinitely, they will meet at one point on the side where it is less than 90 degrees. Two right angles. So we'll try to understand it once more. If I have taken a line which is falling on two other lines, okay, let L is lying on M and N. If you consider interior angles, one of the pairs of interior angles, here these two are angle 1, angle 2 is less than 180 degrees. So on this side, if you extend those lines, they will intersect. That is what they are saying. Okay, let us see now the theorems. You might have heard about this. Okay, if we just now said that axiom and postulates does not require any proof, but some statements need proof. So those statements which are proved are called propositions or theorems. So a system of axiom is called consistent if it is impossible to deduce from these a statement that contradicts any axiom or previously proved statement. That means what they are trying to say is, you take any axioms, when they will be called consistent. Okay, if you cannot deduce any other axiom from this axiom, if you cannot get any other statement that will say that the previous axiom which you have taken or statement you have taken is wrong. Okay, I have taken a statement, from that if I am not able to bring another statement which will make this particular axiom false, then it is called, that particular axiom is called consistent. Hope you understood this, children. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. We'll see exercise 5.1 tomorrow. Make sure that you write these things in your notebook.